Hey, it's your girl KB back with another review for Married to Medicine, the last one for the season, y'all. Season 12, episode 16, reunion part 2. It was cool. I feel like we focused on certain stuff too much where we could have put some other stuff in, or we could have had an hour 15 episode. Both of them could have been hour 15 episodes so that we can get everything out. We didn't necessarily need a third part, but I was like, we missing some stuff. We missing some stuff. So let's jump on in. We start with the Golden Girls, y'all. They still fighting. Simone crying. She's still feeling away because she wants Jackie to understand that she gotta stand for what's right and what's wrong. I said, Lord. I mean, messing up the makeup crying, child. I said, has Candace not taught y'all about the triangle all these years? Y'all making fun of the triangle, but y'all don't understand its purpose. Okay? Y'all don't understand how important the triangle is. I don't understand. So, they finally get Jackie to say that Simone did not push Heavenly. She finally says it. Everybody breathes, takes a moment. And my thing is, as somebody posted a video and was like, the crazy part is, even after they were arguing, Heavenly was hugging and kissing on Simone all night. And it was, they showed the little clips with Heavenly, I'm about to go. I'm like, baby, this is a lover's quarrel. We gotta stay out these people's relationship. This is a lover's quarrel, okay? This is the round table rubbings, okay? And we just gotta stay out this business. We don't understand the depths of what they're going through, okay? It's too much. It's too much. And then Jackie was like, can I hug you? Can I give you a kiss? Simone says, when have you ever had to ask for permission to touch me? I said, what the fuck? What are we? Y'all, I was real weak. When have you ever had to ask permission to touch me? I said, what is this? This is a lover's quarrel. And I can't focus no more energy on it because I just don't really be in people's relationship. Once they decide that they want to break up, or once they decide they're going to stay together, we just don't need to comment on it. It's just none of our business. They're going to stay in a toxic relationship if they want to. They're going to escape if they want to. They might, double dutch in and out if they want to. It is just washing my hands with it, okay? Drinking my Timosa of it, okay? Buffy, it's over. I'm done with it, okay? I'm done with it. Jesus. Contessa calls Heavenly a black Karen and says that Heavenly would do all that barking, all that hollering and fussing, and then call security. Heavenly said, on you. I ain't scared of Simone, but with you, absolutely, I'm going to call the security. I said, right, because we seen Heavenly get the booking when square up, ho. Yeah, I know that's right. Square up, ho. That clip's so funny. I'm so glad they think so too. That's why they played it. Square up, ho. Because that's what's about to drag Heavenly. Heavenly, she shut up and got the scuffling moving around, didn't it? Next we get to Curtis and Eugene. Curtis is so delusional, and this is what happens. We'll get there because Toya be right. She just be tacky sometimes, but this time she wasn't tacky. But we'll get there when we get there. Curtis versus Eugene. Curtis feels like Toya is perpetuating a lie that he be touching on the women. Baby, it's factual. I'm so tired of this Watch What Happens Live clip. Watch What Happens Live get these folks in trouble on their show, and then they can't really say, well, on Watch What Happens Live you said, so they just gotta be talking in circles, and it's just like, oh my gosh. But then now Bravo, they'll just straight up play the clip like, this is what we're talking about. And then I'm just like, oh my gosh. Curtis said that Toya said other women was hitting her up. Not what she said at all. And I feel like that's the only reason that they really played the clip, to show that that's not what Toya said. Because it was nothing. She didn't say that at all. She just said that you had a tendency to have your hands on women in the group. And I'm like, he do. And overall, most importantly, he do. So how is it a lie that she's perpetuating when it's the truth? Because you do. And even on the finale, you did it with Quad. That's why I'm wondering, did they get a chance to see the finale before they filmed? Because I'm amazed that nobody picked up, or they didn't include anybody mentioning how he had his hands around Quad waist. We see that his arm might as well have been Ray J hat, because it was just moving at every scene, just getting closer to. Stop playing with me, Curtis. Just doing the absolute most. So, even though Curtis feels a way, it's annoying to me that Toya feels a way that Curtis did what he did, because you're the cause of this, Toya. If you had just sat your big booty self down, none of this would have happened. Please never forget. Toya went and flounced her big old booty in Curtis' face and was like, let's see if he can pass the test. And then looking over her shoulder as he looked at her booty. And so he was like, you need to calm down. And Toya says, see, he don't pass the test. Get out that man's lap. So Toya, you can't feel offended about nothing, but we ain't even there yet. But yeah, flouncing her big old booty around. Tells him you upholding a lie. What lie, sir? You did it. He eventually says, well, yeah, I did it, but your wife still to line because she said this. She didn't say that. So it's the guilty conscience for me. It's the guilty conscience for me. The ladies go backstage. The guys come out. Backstage, Simone is like, wow, Quad, this memory, the room, you know, we almost got to fighting in this room. They flash back to when, what did Quad call her? Something type of B word. They was heavy arguing. That's why I'm like, Simone, you being mad at Heavenly for Heavenly saying that you're aggressive or unhinged or whatever, when you be acting the way that you be acting on this show, it's amazing to me. Does she go to therapy? Like, I need for the ladies to see, like, the show therapist. And I know the show therapist probably is a joke, because I've seen, anybody ever watched Unreal? It's a scripted show, but the scripted show is like the production team. It centers around the production team of a fictional show that's like The Bachelor. And they showed that, you know, the psychiatrist gonna come in, approve stuff, or the psychiatrist gonna come in and change medicine dosage. They gonna tell them stuff that's gonna trigger them from the past so that we can go to their hometown. So I know sometimes the show psychiatrist might be a joke, but you need to take something serious with how y'all view the show. Simone, Contessa, both of them, they need to go sit down with somebody and just really talk about how real life, they on the show in their real life. It's not a game that they're playing, it's real life. So there's that. And Simone's like, we almost, you know, this room bring up bad memories. Quad is like, oh, yeah, that was last year. You gotta let that go. You gotta let that go. We done slept in the bed together and everything. I bet y'all have. Guys, come out. Dr. Eugene, you gonna be a leader tonight? Steve, I see you got your cleavage out. I was like, what is happening, Andy? What is happening, Andy? He was really cracking me up with that way. I see you got your cleavage out. I don't even remember what he said for the other guys, because those two had me cracking up. Because why would he ask Eugene if he gonna be a leader? Eugene was like, yeah. Eugene, everybody be trying for Eugene, and you can only blame your wife, sir. You can only blame your wife. So Andy asks about Curtis and Eugene, what just happened backstage with that that drama. Eugene, like, it wasn't no drama, We just, we was just kind of bringing back up, Lapgate and how that was going on because, there was no one having live. We just, it wasn't even that big of a deal. The women argued, we was just having a discussion, okay? Eugene says that Toya is still a little offended about Curtis pulling her down in his lap. As wrong as Curtis was for pulling her down in his lap, Toya is just as wrong for putting her big old booty in his face and in his pathway to perfectly fit in his lap. Because it's, unless I'm just literally passing through, like we trying to get through like a movie aisle and I gotta really slide through, there is never a reason that you should be perfectly positioned to sit your big old booty or your flat booty, your flapjacks down in another man's lap as somebody's wife. That's just, perfect booty to peen placement. Girl, Toya is wrong, and the fact that that don't get brought up is amazing to me, because Curtis would have never been able to pull you in his lap if you didn't put it in his face. My gosh. So backstage, Toya is telling Jackie that this is all Jackie's fault, okay? Because Jackie told Curtis that she believed him that it didn't happen. And so you done helped him be delusional like this didn't happen. And now he done had his hand on 2 women on the show, three off the show. Because the lady at the airport, his hands was up on that big old booty. Okay? So yes, Jackie, this is your fault. Like I said, they must have seen the finale to add Quiet to the list too, because he sure had his arm around. Make it foul. Make it foul, Toya. This is when Toya is right, and she's not even tacky about it. She's just being very matter of fact. Like I said, I like Toya when she's not being like mentally abusive. Verbally abusive to her husband. Sometimes it be entertaining because these men don't be listening. How else are you supposed to talk to them? Dang, can y'all see all that? It's just my purse. How else are you supposed to talk to them? Okay? Lean into your femininity. But all in all, this argument is stupid. Curtis, you did pull her in your lap. You're making it worse by harping on it and making it a conversation. You should have just let that roll off and watch what happens live. If you was asked about it, should have, just gave a real vague, like, man, it ain't like I'm out here grabbing booty or nothing. I'm just, taking pictures and let it be gone. You doing all this harping on it is giving guilty. It's giving guilty. All in all, Curtis is a hoe. Hide your wives, okay? Let's move on. Andy asks Eugene about the married moment fight, okay? He's just like, well, I feel like it wasn't just our friends there, and, it was an all-cast event, so everybody had to be there. We were in mixed company. I said, ooh, shade. Steve is over there still raging. I said, my boy, did we not get it out backstage? I giggled with it backstage because it was just kind of like, oh, we getting started early. But now you are still raging. I was just like, whoa. He says that Toya blamed Mimi for them getting into arguments and he wanted an apology. Eugene was like, no. When I looked over there, Mimi and Heavenly was looking judgmental. So I'm sure they was saying something, and that's why she cussed them out, not the other way around, right? So he's like, yeah, I see you. I see who you are, Eugene Bush. Cecil like, that ain't right, man. Now, come on now. That ain't right. No, Cecil, we're not going to do that. I said, what are we doing? Pineapples. Peter walked so Steve could run, okay? Peter walked so Steve could run, okay? Because we ain't seen an involved and a husband that gets this passionate within, I guess it's an offset of the women's business, but on the show since Peter, Eugene has his moments, but his moments usually, surrounds defending Toya or with Toya, not necessarily him trying to argue with the women. Peter was straight up you need somebody to stay out of women's business and stop acting like a bitch, okay? Okay? He was doing a bit too much calling him Eugene Bush, though. It's like, dang, it ain't that bad. He was cussing at Toya first. Eugene is just like, listen, it ain't never been like this, Steve. You new here and you bringing all this hostility. The guys ain't never been this way. I was like, it's been a time or two. It's been a time or two where the guys like to legit. The only one I can say was worse than this. It's been a couple that's been equal, especially with Kieran. With Kieran and Eugene, but nobody expects either of them to fight. So it was probably equal of this. Like nobody's expecting Kieran and Eugene or Steve and Eugene to get to fighting. But the one that I was like, whoa, what's about to happen was Aiden and Damon. Do y'all remember that? I know y'all have to remember that. That was such an iconic almost fight scene because that was the shank, right? That was when Mariah, they was on vacation on the beach, and Mariah grabbed that glass and broke it and was just holding it down like she was just waiting on Heavenly to say one word and she was going to shake her. I was like, girl, what you about to do with that? And Heavenly started talking crazy, and Aiden was like, don't talk to my wife like that. Don't talk to my wife like that. And then Damon was like, yo, it's whatever. Yo, it's whatever. Don't talk to my wife like that. Yo, it's whatever. And Damon got up and he pushed that chair back, and you could tell that it took everything in him to not fling that chair across that beach. But Damon slip was showing a little bit. It's whatever. It's whatever. I said, baby. So let's not act like the guys ain't got heated before, because it's been some moments, boy. It's been some moments. That was one where I was like, I feel like Aiden is crazy enough to run up on Damon, and Damon, he had cute. At the end of the day, he would have did something to that man. I don't know if he would have punched him, restrained him, choked him, bear hugged him. I don't know. But he would have did something to that man. Because let's not... Aiden gave Geeked Up. And I think that's why it was so easy for a lot of people to believe Quad when Quad said that Mariah was giving Geeked Up, because Aiden gives Geeked Up. So yeah, back to Eugene saying that it ain't never been this way, okay? Curtis hops in like, yo, you guys, it don't matter who started it. It don't matter how long he been here, 1 year, 2 years, it don't matter. But Eugene, it started at your house. I said, boy, hush, Curtis, you just still mad. Hush. Gosh, you ain't add no substance to this conversation. Hush. So now Steve is saying that Eugene is insecure about him because Toya want to see him with his shirt off. I said, Steve, okay, baby, we're going to have to get you adjusted. So there's this meter of, okay, we need a fun, messy husband that's going to give a little, okay? If the wife is subdued and, you know, she's not the type that's going to really get rah-rah, we usually don't get a husband that's going to get a little rah-rah. But we don't want it to get to the doing too much area. We don't need it there. Let's just keep it at the cute little, ooh, they arguing, they mad. We ain't got to get into the, oh, dang, he said that type of vibe. I don't think I got it. We don't have to get there. We don't have to do this too much. So we're going to have to scale it back. But Steve, well, they said Steve ain't played but a hot second in the NFL. But either way, he's used to like that locker room rage. How you got to keep that rage going for the whole game. And when you performing like this. And it's like, baby, this ain't that type of performance. Somebody tell this man to calm down, okay? Eat a Snickers, my boy. Damon, why did you tell Heavenly that you didn't get a massage out in Jamaica? Damon said, I didn't. I didn't get a massage. One, I forgot about that because I don't consider that a massage. A massage, you know, it's like, you know, we get massages every week. And it's like we lay on the table and there's a sheet. That wasn't a massage. So let's talk about Junior, and it's so vague that they might as well not, okay? You know that you love someone and you see them struggle, And you're a doctor, so you should know what to do. You've read the books, but you're not prepared. You don't know what to do. And they're struggling. But that's my son. So I'm here for him. And I'm here whenever he want to come. Whenever. Because it's whatever. So you ain't seen him? No, man, I ain't seen him, man. Heavenly's getting on my nerves. Always yelling at somebody that ran the boy off. And people have been going back and forth with like, okay, the way Heavenly make it seem is like this was recent because she mentioned reaching out to Mimi. And I'm wondering if Heavenly reacting the way she did sent him into, you know, it triggered something. It triggered something that he may have been sweeping up under the rug, because the way she mentioned the mental health incident / episode, it don't seem like that's what she was talking about all them years ago, because she don't know Mimi, so she wouldn't have known to call Mimi in an emergency all them years ago. So it seems like something that happened triggered him into whatever happened. But yeah, he ain't gonna talk about it. That's his son. He says the people shouldn't weaponize the lies. They all like, we shouldn't have to weaponize the lies. Simone, then effing tell your wife not to do it to us. I said, hey, again, she's right. The girls be right every now and again. Even the ones that don't be right most of the time still got their times where they right. Broke clock, right twice a day. Okay? And then he's just like, well, you know, I talk to her in private and I tell her, you know, don't put me in situations where I have to say something. Is she doing that? Well, she's getting better. They're like, oh, sure. She's getting better. Dang, this one I met, child. Okay. Now that I'm thinking about it, they still could have gave us 3 parts, because we didn't get Scott and Contessa talking about the birthday fiasco. I really feel like we should have sat Contessa down and showed her the clips of complaining and be like, you don't think this complaining, Scott? Do you feel like this is complaining? How do you feel about her saying this about you? Have you thrown her a party? We know she good for lying and exaggerating. Let's get to the bottom of this. I feel like that could have been a moment. That could have been a moment. We didn't talk about Angel and her relationship with Bernard, because her just dropping him on the trip like that, like, she really just dropped this man in as a placeholder and snatched him right back out. Wouldn't really answer no questions. And it was just like, that could have been a moment. That could have been a moment. We didn't make Jackie apologize for Thyroid Gate. Child. So the ladies are coming out with the men. Someone, I think it was Eugene, was like, oh, look who's holding hands. Having his head, the old bitches. Me and Angel cackled so hard. Why would you say that? Somehow we get on Curtis and Jackie's sex life, y'all. I be disgusted. They want us to think that she's really being intimate with her husband, and it's just, we don't believe you. You need more people. My gosh. And then he's just like, oh, well, you know, we're trying to get to this goal. We're trying to get to this goal as Kiki Shepard's freaking quad. And everybody just kind of like, And my first mind is like, are you trying to get quad for this? What do you mean you're trying to get this goal? I'm not understanding what is, I was so uncomfortable. Quad was just kind of sitting there like, and then Andy just kind of sitting there like, and then Jackie says 15 times a week. And Andy's like, oh, wow. Because that ain't what Cecil said. Cecil didn't say 15 times a week. Jackie did. Cecil did the Kiki Shepard Round Pond Quartet. This is just what Toya said backstage. He do it because you support it. You allow it. You don't check it. Because that would have been a problem for me. Just like on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, where Sierra's husband looked at Jasmine and said, I see why Kirk chose you. Why would you say that to her? I would have hit Kirk. Why would you do that? Well, just say 15 times a week. Don't look like we're trying to snatch Quad up and put her in our sex dungeon, no Phaedra. Child, what? I was so disgusted. Um, Andy asked Simone about the household. She lets us know that Cecil has 2 jobs and she ain't paying none of his bills. And I'm like, I'm glad she said it because it do be funny to me how they were like, Cecil don't be working, Cecil ain't got no job. And he's literally standing there in his work shirt. I be like, my God, you guys are terrible detectives. Clearly we see Cecil's working. Now, we don't know what he making. We don't know what it is in relation to when he was working the IT job, but she said he working 2 jobs, so real estate and something else, child. Let that man be. Simone gonna complain about the wind blowing, so we can't take her complaining as Cecil's lack of doing something outside of lack of supporting her when it comes to the boys, because we see that and he admits to that. So she says she has not cut off the boys, but she's making gradual changes and setting some boundaries. Andy's like, oh, okay, the way that Michael talked to you. And they just flash back to the part where he said, you my mama, you make the money, you should give it to me. I'm like, that wasn't even the bad part. It was when he was cussing at her, talking about, I'm gonna feed your food to the dog. That's the way he was talking to you, crazy. Andy basically, without saying it, was just like, oh, can you give me some advice about not letting my kids get like that? Yeah, I wish little Ben would. Oh God, no. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah, I'm white, but I ain't doing that. Yeah, no. No, Simone. No. And I'm an executive producer. I was screaming. So they just like, okay, Cecil need to side with her when it comes to the kids. Next week is Steve and Eugene part 5, y'all. I said, how did we get here? I'm over it. He was like, we gave more in 1 year than y'all did in 3. I'm like, well, you ain't lying on that part, but still, we're done with this. We're done, okay? He feels like they were targeted, and it's just giving overkill at this point, Steve. Like, we have had this argument 5 times today, but I get Steve is probably still a little hyped up about the interview with Carlos King, because even though it wasn't terrible what he said, it was just like, hey, don't mention me. Like, it's the insinuation of it all. But Simone was like, listen, you weren't targeted. I paid the $2,500 and I bought a table. Toya still ran up on me and made me buy a ticket. I said, now that's just bad business. Did she do this to other people too? Because that's just bad business. I have never seen a gala like that, y'all. Galas I have attended, because this is giving, you can enter the gala and be standing room only, but there's tables over there. That's what this is giving. Galas I've been to, if you're there, you have a seat. So it is sold by the table, or you can buy an individual seat. Say the seat be $250, whole table be, what would that be? $250 to whatever, $5,000. I don't know the math. I'm whatever. If I bought that $5,000 table, they give me all those tickets, and I say, here, you can have this, here. And then they come and they say, here. They don't pay at the door because they have a ticket because I gave it to them. Now, if I'm just buying the table so that all my people can be together, and I buy the table and I expect for y'all to pay me back for the table and I give y'all the ticket, that's one thing. But that's not what this is. This is Toya making people double, triple pay, essentially. And that's why Simone said, don't charge nobody else at the door, because this is stupid, Toya. This is stupid. I didn't want to make a fuss about it, but it's stupid, so don't do it to nobody else. That was the underlying text of Simone telling her, don't charge nobody else in this group. Me and Jackie both bought tables. That fits everybody in this group. I'm sure had somebody else bought, like, girl, it just sounds crazy that she is charging the people that bought the table. Because even if you want to say, oh, well, the $150 is entry to get in, and then the ticket to the table is the seat at the table. Even if you say that, you're charging the people that bought the table. Insane. Bad business. Toya, the gala looked great. It's the best it has ever looked as far as space, as far as decor, as far as having food, even though it was greasy, hot wings that weren't quite gala food. This is the first gala that they didn't have that had food. So Toya's still doing better. However, the finances of it, please let somebody else handle that. Let Toya do the planning. She can find a venue. She can do the decor. She can find the students to get the scholarships to. But let somebody else do the logistics of, if you buy a ticket for this table and the people that's hosting it need to do this, and break down the committees. Okay, the planning committee, the Toya's flunkies, that's going to be the planning committee. That's going to be the new girls. The new girls and whoever from the team want to be on there. Do these committees. Scholarship committee. Okay, we're going to do this. Make Mimi make her an interim position to see if she stay around. Okay, but we see that she has 501c3 experience. Use it. But letting Toya think that this is her thing is just annoying. It's annoying. And I'm over it. Tessa's just like, this became a Eugene and Toya show, and I just don't feel like he should have been running down on anybody about tickets at the door. He shouldn't have been running down on anybody. Facts. Facts. It's not even the point that facts, and we can just leave it there. Quiet. Everybody calm down, please. Calm down, please. I say quiet, shut up. For respect. Jackie and Toya remind us that, well, Jackie brings up the fact that it started at 501c3. Toya says, yes, that was my idea. Thank you, Toya. You have earned yourself a permanent position on the board and a current 2-year position as chairperson of whatever committee. Let's move on. Let's move on. It's going forward. If it's a 501c3, there are guidelines that you need to follow. You have meetings to all discuss these things. You have to vote. There's a quorum. You have to have at least 75% of the committee there to do these votes. There are things that we do, people. There are things. So the guys get to the back. Steve is still going, okay? Your wife think I'm attractive and she want me with my shirt off. You insecure. That makes you insecure. You got a little man syndrome and you insecure. Eugene just walks off because he's over it. And I'm like, yeah, I can't even blame Eugene at this point. Scott said, do you need some food? Because you sound hungry. Steve like, okay, that do sound like a good idea. I haven't had no protein in a while. Yeah, we can tell. It reminded me of that video with a little girl crying, what's wrong with you? I don't know. And then she said, think about it, and she like, Fraggle Rock got music, and with the sandwich, you can surprise me. You just hungry. You just hungry. You can surprise me. He's like, you just want music? And you're hungry? Yeah. Okay, well, what you want? What sandwich? And what you want to eat? And what you want to watch? Fraggle Rock has music. Oh, boy. Empty stomach can take you through there. So lastly, well, not lastly, but getting ready to close out. Andy's like, Heavenly, so if you win your election, so this will be like goodbye, huh? Heavenly's like, yeah, but you know, I ain't gonna never really leave. I'm gonna leave the door open, but yeah, if I win. Contessa's gonna say, well, this is the goodbye, huh? Everybody busts out laughing, including me. She's like, no, because you're gonna win. You're gonna win. And like, you just wanna close her out right now, huh? And to her, Heavenly looking like, baby, I can't go. Oh, so just goodbye, huh? Heavenly and Simone get to arguing again. I truly don't even understand how that happened, but who cares? Like I said, this is a lover's quarrel. Stay out in people's business. Quiet close us out with a monologue about don't play with this family. And it's like, Quad, it was so good seeing you welcomed back into the fold. You know, they've been shutting you and trying to get you kicked off for years. And this year, we brought some newbies on and they had other punching bags. How does that feel to be back in the fold? You know, Andy, this is our family. It's bonded, real sisterhood, because we are sisters. We stick together. We make up one big family, though we don't look the same. Our spots are different. You hear me, Andy? If you mess with anybody, you mess with anybody up here. We gang, Andy, because this is family. This is family. I've been through the trenches with these ladies, and I love them. You hear that, Robin? You hear that, Giselle? Don't play with my family. Well, all right. Toya, are you going to close us out with a toast? She said, as long as Mimi not counting my drinks. And she kind of giggles about it. And Mimi said, oh, no, we good with champagne. I said, see, let's do more of this. More of the playful banter. More of the light, fun shade. You know what I mean? Toya can laugh at herself, so I feel like they can definitely get past this if Mimi stops taking everything so serious. Don't get it twisted. It does make for funny moments on the show to see how hoity-toity Mimi is with being judgmental, using her profession, therapizing the girls. But I will admit, I'm sure it's annoying to them, and and they ain't trying to do all that, but you know, it be funny sometimes. It gives friction for the show. But anyway, y'all, that's it for this season of Married to Medicine. It was decent. It was decent. I don't know if I knew what to expect with all the new people, because Mimi is still kind of new. She won't be new no more next year if she's back, which I feel like she will be back. She won't be new next year when she's back, but she was still new this year. So with Mimi, with Angel, with Brandy, it was just like, okay, I didn't have high expectations. And I'm glad I didn't. Not that it was boring. It's just, you know, it was coasting. It was getting a good groove for like, okay, we got a group of newbies that might stick around. We got a group of newbies that might stick around. I can see everybody coming back next season. I don't know if Heavenly gonna come back, but I feel like if Heavenly can't come back, they'll be fine with everybody that's here. I really think that they could give it a go. I know that I always mention, I know that they scrapped 2 months of filming that Heavenly wasn't there when she got back, but we can see Angel truly step it up next season. We can see Brandy give a little more, you know, make both of them full time or one of them full time. And is Mimi full time? Mimi in the intro, you know, we can give it a go. We can give it a go if Heavenly wins her congressional seat. I ain't gonna count her out because people like, she crazy, she don't know how to act. A lot of them don't. We just don't see what they do in their private life to the degree that we see what Heavenly does in her private life. But I ain't heard nobody from her practice saying that she got bad business. I ain't seen nobody from the community saying she out here beating up homeless people and things like that. I think she genuinely cares for the community and what's going on, and she know the people and she know what they need. That's what it shake down to for me. I don't know. I can't. Looking at somebody on reality TV and saying that they're not fit to do this, it's just like, says who? Jason Lee is out there doing good as assistant governor or assistant mayor or whatever out there in California. He out there building centers and clinics and stuff. Baby, if Jason Lee is out here doing some good for the community, God damn it, give Heavenly a try. That's all I'm saying. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video. I'll probably do some reels on this since it's not so late. What is this, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday? Yeah, I'll probably do a couple of little reels on here. Let me pull this up so I don't forget, because I always forget. Or I'll be doing it so late where it's like, girl, ain't even no point. Ain't even no point for doing the reels. The new one come out tomorrow, child. But that's it, y'all. I've been talking for 40 minutes. Crazy work. Until next time, bye.